Hi guys, and welcome back. Today I'm doing another one of my artist and album kind of chats about people that have inspired me over the years to play drums and to play music and in life generally. And today is about Buddy Rich, or the Buddy Rich. I was lucky enough to see Buddy twice. My dad took me to the Colston Hall in Bristol in 1984 and again in 1986. So I managed to see him twice, and it was unforgettable. And anyone who's followed my playing and read stuff in the drum mags or online or interviews with me will know that I talk about Buddy as being a major influence, which he is, and I can't deny that. But sometimes when I talk about Buddy Rich, I can divide the room. But my kind of Buddy Rich isn't what a lot of other people's Buddy Rich, can be, and that's fine. That's how it should be. I always say it's subjective. It's good to have this toing and froing of ideas. And my dad, when he introduced me to Buddy, had like big swing face, and I've got these here somewhere. A Jazz at the Philharmonic, and a few other things. A Buddy Rich collection, which is over here somewhere as well. And they were all swing tunes, everything on his albums. There wasn't any sort of straight ahead eighth note feels on any of the stuff that I'd heard. He didn't have Mercy Mercy, which is another early album. I think that's 68 or something. So I hadn't really heard that. I'd heard him play The Beat Goes On, which is on Big Swing Face, and that was cool. But anyway, so I was kind of listening to it, but I was more into my Deep Purples and my Beatles and the Monkees and Gary Newman. I was into that sort of stuff at the time. That's what I was listening to. And that was kind of floating my boat. But I was aware that Buddy was out there, and it's like, oh yeah, I know this guy, Dad, but I'm not really digging it, and I'm into this. Anyway, that all changed one day when me and my friend wandered downtown in Corsham, when they still had a record shop. And now it's a takeaway, I think, Indian takeaway. Which is, they do good food there, but and I went in and I went through the pop and rock section and singles and and I thought, I'll just go to the jazz section and leaf through it, and there was this sat there, Buddy Rich, Tough Dude. So and it's a double album on the Groove Merchant label. Not that mattered when I was like, 11 or 12 years of age or whatever. Anyway, I saw it and thought, oh, yes, I'm due some pocket money. So I ran all the way back, and actually the price has come off it now. I think it's about £3.75, which would have been quite a bit in 1985 maybe, or whenever. No, not 85. It would have been 1980, 81. Yes, 80, 81, around there. Anyway, I got the money and I ran back and I bought it and I brought it home. And I'm not quite sure why I was that excited about it. I think there was just no other artists, Heck 100 or Gary Newman or whoever else I was listening to at the time, had no records out. So, but I found this, and I knew Buddy was cool. So, and also maybe Dad would like it if I took it home and showed it to him, because I was pretty sure he didn't have it. Anyway, I remember putting it on my little record player up in my bedroom, dropping the needle on side one, track one, and then the tune Nutville kicked in. With this sort of Latin bell thing going on, and a bit like Highway Star with Deep Purple on Made in Japan. I was just like, oh my god. And this album kicked off, and I was just sat there thinking, this is jazz, but this is like cool jazz, but not like, hey, cool jazz, the Californian sort of West Coast or whatever scene. Don't mean that sort of cool. And it was kind of like, this is hard hitting, and it's the bass player, though I didn't know at the time, was Tony Levin, who played with obviously Peter Gabriel, and I've seen him with Gabriel many times. He was on that session, and he's not messing about on the bass, and it's not an upright, obviously, it's an electric. So the stuff I'd heard, the other Buddy stuff, was all upright, and it was cool. This is the universal thing for upright bass, obviously. But this was exciting, and it was driving, and I hit the bass on my stereo, and it's like, anyway. And I listened to the whole album, and track 2, Kilimanjaro Cookout, I think it's called, came on, and that was kind of in between a swing and a straight feel. And then track 3, Big Mac, starts with this like, That's universal speak for funk. And it was just so funky. And I've heard that used as a break beat, the fill at the start, but also the first few bars that Buddy plays as a break beat in sort of hip hop and rap stuff as well. And that was just like, it was just blowing my mind, because I'd heard ting, 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 you know, which was awesome. But then he's playing these rhythms that I can sort of pretend I can play at that age, and I can relate to it all of a sudden. And the solos are crazy, and I think the soprano player was playing through a wah-wah pedal, and it sounded like Jimi Hendrix, and I was wigging out, man, completely. And then side 2 starts with Time Check, which I think the big band played right until he died. I think that was in a chart that was always in the book. Prelude to a Kiss, ballad, and then Waltz of the Mushroom Hunter, and he traded some really nice fours on that with the band. And then Senator Sam at the end, which is kind of like a shuffly bluesy thing, which is cool. I think there's only one track on here. I think it's Backward Sideman, which is a great band performance, and there's the 2 sax players trading off each other. It's great and it's exciting, it's fast, but the head of it sounds a little bit like a Benny Hill thing. It just reminds me of Benny Hill, which probably it shouldn't do, but it does. But I can forgive it, that one track anyway, that one head on that track, because it's absolutely brilliant. And side 2 of this is, because they're 2 different albums that were on the Groove Merchant label, I guess late 70s, early 80s, they thought, well, let's put them together as a double album and see what happens. And they did, and that's what you get. So this is the original one I had from as a kid. And I didn't know, it was only much later on. And sorry, side 2 is good as well. It's a small group. It's when he disbanded his 18-piece band or whatever and went to like a 6-piece or whatever it is, or 7-piece. And it's cool, you know, it's small group jazz in Buddy's own club, Buddy's Place, and it's called Live at Buddy's Place. Makes sense. And that's a good record too. Some good things on there, some nice brush work, but you know, it's side 1 that really, really freaks me out. They're saying that on side 2 he does a version of Chameleon, which I didn't know was like a Herbie Hancock tune. I mean, I could see on the label it said Hancock, but anyway, it was only later on when I had heard Headhunters and stuff and got used to his albums like Thrust and all that kind of thing, which I will talk about. I've got those too. But it was like, oh, that's that Buddy Rich tune, and everyone was like, no, it's not, it's Herbie Hancock. I was like, oh yeah. But I'd heard it there first, you know. And then a bit later on, I found out that the album was actually called, the first side of this one, was actually called The Roar of 74, with probably the worst album cover that Buddy ever did, I think. Oh, it's not cool. I don't like saying that because I love Buddy Rich so much, but I don't think that's the best cover. But anyway, who cares what's in a cover, because the album is just absolutely fantastic. And like I said with the Deep Purple stuff, if you don't know this album, then you should go and get it, because if you're not a Buddy Rich fan, but you quite like big bands, you like the up-tempo stuff and more straight ahead, you know, contemporary 8th note grooves and stuff in your big band playing, then you'll dig this album, because it is phenomenal. It's still a go-to. I've got it on CD. I'd get it on 8-track. I'd get it on, whatever I could get hold of, if reel to reel, anything, because I just think it's a killer record. As I say, I can forgive the sleeve because the music is just stunning. And I've played it to some people who've come to my place or been in the car, and they go, oh, I don't play Buddy Rich. I said, oh, that's cool. And I said, but you've never heard this Buddy Rich. Wait till you hear this album. And I've had people leave the whole album on the whole time for the whole trip. You know, it's like, that is killer. And every now and again, if someone's like, oh, I might buy it for them for Christmas or birthday or something, and say, just check that. It's just a phenomenal record. I mean, if you know it, you know what I'm saying. And of course, the straight ahead stuff on albums after this, he was doing some of that. I mean, he was doing some of it before this, I know he was, but there's something about the production of this. It just sounded modern to me in 1980 and 81, whenever that was. You know, I was, as I say, I was 10 or 11. I was probably younger than I thought. Yeah, it just blew my mind, and it continues to do so today. And I'm so glad it was recorded well. It would be great if they actually remastered it, maybe some new artwork or something, and maybe some outtakes and things. I don't know. Sometimes they're not always worth it, are they? It's good just to have the record as it was. But yes, Buddy Rich, Roar of 74, and any straight stuff that he played after that. When I say straight, I mean 8th note sort of feels and funk stuff like Dancing Men and Time Will Tell, I'm trying to think of some of the later ones, No Jive, things like that. I think that was a bit earlier actually, but all those things I would always try and dig out bootleg performances of to see how he was playing, because there's a clip of him playing in 1984 or 5 an amphitheatre, and it's the famous drum solo which people call the Incredible Drum Solo or something like that, and it's the one where he has a heart attack afterwards and he's wearing the bow tie. Famously he finished the performance and went backstage and had to be taken to hospital, and it was actually a Frank Sinatra gig, and the big band were just playing in the interval. He was the guest star, and there's something on there, I can't remember the name of the piece, it might be Time Will Tell, but it's straight, and he's really kicking that band. And I've sent that video on YouTube to lots of my drumming friends, say, look, I know you don't dig jazz, but check Buddy playing this sort of vibe, and they're like, blimey, he's nailing it. It's like, yeah. So, you know, he was never going to play straight ahead funk and, you know, contemporary rhythms like Billy Cobham and some of the younger guys, but he thought of it differently, and there's a slight skip in there even when it's straight, a bit like Ringo type vibe, you know, and Charlie Watts, they can feel a swing in it even if it's straight, and that makes it kind of hip too. So if you're not used to Buddy playing that way, check it out, because that became my Buddy. So going back to the very beginning, you know, that's what made my Buddy gel more for me than maybe the other albums and straight ahead things where he's just playing contemporary swing. So as I say, that's where I found my Buddy Rich, really, in this record, which I keep going back to, and I always will do, and I highly recommend it. If you don't know it, go and check it out. And if you don't know Buddy's playing anyway, you should check it out. There's always bits you can pilfer from every drummer. There's bound to be something that you'll dig in there somewhere. So in the comments below, please let me know your comments about this record, or about Buddy Rich, or anything you'd recommend me to listen to, or you could recommend to other people to listen to. So that interaction is always good, and I like all that happening on these threads. It just keeps the whole thing moving along. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.